It took longer than either of them were comfortable with, and soon they saw the eyes glowing in the darkness. The car was parked with the trunk only inches from the garage door. The engine was still running. With Matt on his way, Ashley wasn't worried about conserving gas. Then the dogs began to emerge from the night, and for every second Matt took to get down there and open the door, it seemed 10 passed outside. The dogs had never, to Ashley's knowledge, been cautious, so she attributed their slow pace, their growls, the way they drooled, to simple menace. They were demons in a true sense, and if Matt wasn't here with an open door in the next few seconds, there'd be no one to open it for. She made herself stop thinking about what he'd just said over the radio. Surely there was some mistake. And then she told Geoffrey, "We don't have enough shots left. We should have modified the car with blades and stuff. That way we could just mow them down." "What are you talking about?" "Nothing," Geoffrey said. "Too many action movies, I guess." Ashley picked up the CB again and asked, "Matt, you there?" He didn't answer, and she felt a little better. At least he was on his way. But what had he meant when he said he'd try? It was down the hall, then a flight of stairs, and he was in the garage, so what was taking so long? The dogs were 30 feet away. Ashley counted half a dozen, but who knew how many really made up a pack, how many were still in the distance? Her heart pounded, and her hands were slick on the steering wheel. She swallowed, and it clicked in her throat. "I've still got my blade," Geoffrey said. "And even if you managed to get one, the rest would tear you to nothing before that one was even dead." "Yeah, there's that." The dogs stalked closer still, and finally something behind them ground into place and chains rattled as the garage door rose on its track. And that brought another dilemma: how to back the car in and shut the door before they infiltrated the compound. She turned to Geoffrey and said, "Get out." He looked at her and asked, "Excuse me?" "When the door's open enough, you slide inside. Open it only enough to get the car in. I'm going to start firing while I'm backing in, and if one of the shotguns is close at hand in there, you cover me. If they get in, we're done." He glanced back, saw 2 feet of space, and slid out of the car and rolled under the door. Ashley sat in the car but rolled the window down and took aim. Behind her, the door ground to a halt, and she heard Geoffrey yell, "Hurry now! Shit, Ashley, get in here!" She threw the transmission into reverse, hoped neither Geoffrey nor Matt were in her path, and slammed on the gas. The tires squealed, the dogs charged, and she fired. She hit one in the head and it went down, but climbed back to its feet for a second. Her attention left that one, however, and she shot another. From inside, something boomed and a dog exploded in front of her. The hood of the car cleared the garage door and she slammed on the brake, and the door began to close again. She got out, went to her stomach, and fired her remaining shots through the closing gap while Geoffrey shot another 2 rounds from the shotgun. As the door met the concrete, she counted 3 separate bangs as dogs collided with the metal. Her gun clicked, empty, and after a few seconds she stopped and realized she hadn't taken a breath in almost a minute. She gasped, sat up, looked around, dazed. Ashley'd been in a few close calls with scavengers, but this was probably the closest, definitely the scariest. She hadn't even been this terrified when the dog got into the compound and had her cornered, snarling into her face, because that time she'd resigned herself to death. But now, she wanted to live, had to live, in fact, if what Matt said was true. She had to find out what he'd meant. Then she turned inside the garage when she heard, as if from a great distance, faint and dim, Geoffrey saying, "Ashley, Ashley, Ashley, come here, you have to see."